how has it been? What has been your experience being probably the only woman in the room, but also I'm pretty confident probably woman of color in that particular department.
Yes.
How has that experience been for you?
Yes, I'm usually the only woman of color in this field. I would say I love a risk and a challenge in a lot of cases. So it's almost like I kind of look for those opportunities to, you know, kind of break barriers. I have family that have encouraged me to set those different, you know, break those different glass ceilings. I listen. I'm never too, you know, high up or anything to listen to people, because people, you can't become a leader if you're not at that level. So if someone tell me I should probably do something, I'm acting on that. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, we're gonna go ahead and knock it out. I typically don't waste time on a lot of things.
We kind of got that in common. What y'all think?
Every day a woman.
You're watching Trish Stanley TV. Hey guys, this is Trish Stanley of Trish Stanley TV. I have an amazing guest lined up for us today. Her name is Dr. Alyssa 𝐐𝐤𝐿. She is a GIS expert. What does that mean? You've got to tune in and find out. But I will tell you this. She is an amazingly smart, intelligent, beautiful woman. So you don't want to miss this.
Every day a woman.
You're watching Trish Stanley TV.
It's time to live your dreams. Nothing's gonna stop you now.
You're watching Trish Stanley TV.
Keep going. Keep going. Every day a woman reigns.
You're watching Trish Stanley TV, where the everyday woman reigns.
Every day a woman reigns.
Hey guys, this is Trish Stanley here on Trish Stanley TV. I would love for you to meet this awesome, beautiful woman, none other than Dr. Alyssa 𝐐𝐤𝐿, 3-time award winner. I want you to break down what it is you do, because you do it so eloquently, and I don't have the vocabulary to explain what it is that you do. But let us know who you are and what you do.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here, so excited to share. Once again, yes, my name is Dr. Alyssa 𝐐𝐤𝐿. And so my background is in geographic information systems and project management. I've been doing that for over 10 years now. And in addition to that, currently right now, I'm on Gwinnett County Government's Infrastructure Support Team. We manage the stormwater, sewer, and water pipelines for the county. We impact over 1 million residents daily. I also handle stormwater development permits for the county, as well as the annual stormwater fee for the county. And I'm also the owner of 𝐒𝐿𝐷, which is a digital innovation firm. We're doing some amazing things now. We are adding immersive 360 tours, and we're specializing in niches where not just real estate, but we want to go to those new places that people aren't thinking about using more accessible visualization in places, such as boats, such as thinking about how can we use these for handicap places, so that other people who have those accessible issues are able to see things. So looking for more ways with that. We also do blueprints, blueprint extractions, Google Street View updates. We'll be looking at adding drone mapping as well as building rendering in the future. Currently have some projects, but we just want to make sure we streamline. I'm also a Federal Aviation Administration certified drone pilot, or a small unmanned aircraft, and a board member for the West Atlantic Watershed Alliance. They're the youngest board member and founder of 𝐶ombs Foundation, which is Commissioning Open Minds Beyond Standards.
Yeah, see, that's there's no way in the world I would have been able to break it down. But I love it. I think it's amazing. You know, as we stated before we were on set before we went live, is that I love seeing a beautiful young Black woman standing in her right. And, you know, in an era, you're pretty young, in an era where everyone wants to be the next influencer or the next model, or, you know, this is a very deep area of interest that you are. When did you start? Because you said you started volunteering at what, 14? How did you know this was your particular area? How you fall in love with this particular area or industry?
So I believe I just had a heart of service from a very young age. Like, even starting, I believe I started acting in that level of service back when I was like 12. You know, started in the church being an alkalite, you know, raised in the church, and then it moved to doing mission trips. So once I turned 12, I did a mission trip every summer until I was about 27.
Okay.
Every summer I would go out and we would go and impact the lives of other communities that, you know, may not have had the funds to do certain projects or weren't able to, you know, actually get those resources. We would come out and we particularly build homes. So I am very well equipped with carpentry. I actually love carpentry. I can use, you know, saw, drill. I put up siding on the homes before. Yeah, so it's very, very good. So it started from there where I had that level of service, and I realized that I enjoyed working with communities. And so once I got to middle school, you know, I was part of about 8 or 9 clubs, you know, very active then. And once I got to high school, I did start going to more community engaged nonprofits such as the West Atlanta Watershed Alliance, and started with them at 14, mentored a lot of the students there, as well as other organizations became very well known. They became like family, essentially, being able to work in the city of Atlanta for that long time. And then later on, as I mentioned, I joined the board. So what really struck me for the technology is I remember when I was working with West Atlanta Watershed Alliance, I had went to a conference. It used to be called Power Shift, and we were working, we were lobbying for environmental and community rights at that time. And one of my mentors said that, you know, it doesn't matter what you do, but in order to make a difference, you have to know politics. You have to know the law. But that also means that you have to have supportive evidence. So I started thinking, like, how can you get that information? And I've always been pretty good at, you know, technology, particularly visualization. And so I came upon using GIS, or Geographic Information Systems, in college at Georgia State University by accident.
I was going to ask where you went to school.
I actually came across it by accident because they took all the classes and that was the only one left. And I was like, okay, I'll take it, because I originally was looking more for an engineering class. And actually my original degree was going to be in engineering.
I was going to ask that.
It was originally was environmental engineering, and I actually switched once I saw how powerful this tool would be. And I've been able to build over, you know, 24 GIS-based web applications for communities. I've worked with local, state, and international agencies to help them use GIS to leverage that data for decision making, with decision making information. And so it's a powerful tool. I feel like it's an underutilized tool that people don't know about, particularly the Black community. And it could be very, very useful in some of the initiatives that we're pushing.
You had mentioned offset that you was able to travel somewhere. Was it Belize? Belize. Tell us about that.
So I was able to travel to Belize, and we actually worked with, I had 3 separate projects where with all of them we built GIS-based web applications. So one of the first projects we worked with was, we did work with the 𝐤𝐻 Conservation Trust. This is in the middle of the Belize forest, and we spent some days out there. The natives there use a resource called the Cahoon palm tree. This was used for food, housing, different things, but there was no system in place really on how to manage it, to know how much is going out. Do you need to replant? And since it was such a major resource, like you can't manage anything if you aren't aware of those type of details. So we went out there and we basically tree sizing the different Cahoon palm trees, basically collecting data, which we were able to put in a system to help them come up with some type of system for managing that resource, at least to start the basis. We also worked with the city of San Ignacio. They were having issues with perceptions of space with their tourism industry. So we were able to get 2 groups together and this is getting a little deep into it, but it's something that when you go to a space or you think about if you even walk around the city of Atlanta and think about those areas where like you turn a corner, you're like, I don't want to go there or, you know, or, oh, I feel good here. That discourse or dialogue in your mind and how you feel can be used to basically pull that, you know, aggregate data for cities or tourism industries to see how people are feeling in that space.
Wow.
So we did that in St. Ignacio, and we were able to discover that, you know, some streets, people weren't feeling that comfortable about the space. And we actually had them write down, this was all within their phone, because they were able to go in their phone within the app and write, why do they feel like that? And some things was like, there wasn't enough lighting. There was trash all over the space. So we were able to use those key indicators to say like, hey, this area needs, you know, some type of work. And then the last one that we worked on is that we went to the island of 𝐸𝐷𝐸 and we worked with the high school there. This is an island who there is no car. I believe it was just one golf course there. It's in the middle, you know, of the ocean. And but one of the issues they have is with trash and litter. And in particular also trash coming on shore from the boats or wherever from off the other coast. It was coming up onto the island and it was a big issue. So we worked with the high school students because our youth they're a very powerful advocacy tool. I believe in all communities. So for their school, we helped to train them on how to use GIS on what we call story maps. And story maps help to basically highlight a location. And the students were able to say like, hey, I don't like the trash that's coming up on my land, or it's trash here and I can't play here. Because the key thing is that sometimes when you go to adults, they may not listen, but if their kids are leading in it, or that they see that their kids are struggling, it helps to get adults oftentimes involved. So they were able to share those concerns, build these beautiful maps. And we're talking about kids that were from 7 years old, 6 years old. And then we had teenagers of 14 all in one class. And we were able to teach them how to use this information. We taught them how to fly drones on the island. And we took pictures of the litter that was coming on the island. And it was a very powerful tool. It was a great time.
Yeah, it allows them to get active and proactive and raise up somewhat activists like you. You know, you're just duplicating who you were you know, at that age. I love it. And you kind of touched a little bit on the impact that the GIS can have on a community. Share what that would look like. You had some experience of setting up a system here on the south side of Atlanta. Share that with us if you would.
So one of the projects we worked on is working with, just a historical kind of background. So in Southwest Atlanta, it's a community that has struggled with, you know, a number of challenges, you know, both politically and maybe geographically, as far as like the landscape is concerned. But because of the way that the infrastructure, particularly stormwater infrastructure, is in that particular area, years ago, there were struggles of homes being flooded out. If they had what's called combined sewer overflows, which is something where when the storm rain comes, you have your regular water outfall, and then you also have the storm water coming in all at the same time. So sometimes it'd be so much water from all of the hard surfaces where it would flood, and you had whole apartment buildings, the whole lower level flooded out, 4 feet of water. And so there are a lot of cases where there's a lot of pooling water in those communities. So one of the things that several of the organizations in Atlanta were trying to figure out how to solve this issue. And this has been an ongoing thing for a number of years. But one of the projects I worked on with West Atlanta Watershed Alliance, with Environmental Community Action, with the City of Atlanta Department of Watershed, Conservation Trust, we were able to come together and talk with community members first on what are these community hazards that are, you know, that they're struggling with. And one of the, the president of the West Atlanta Watershed Alliance, Dr. Natasha Osborne-Jelks, she has been an amazing leader in this, and she was able to help navigate all of this. And she took this information and was able to do a little bit more research with it. But where we plugged in at is that we were able to take those community concerns and put it in a GIS webbing application. We looked at stormwater infrastructure that was broken in the community. We looked at tires that were being dumped illegally in the community. And we set up 4 or 5 indicators, and we actually walked the community with these community members to teach them how to basically, once they got to let's say an illegal tire dumping site, they were to put it on right there on their phone and say, it's illegal tire dumping here. They would take a picture. They were able to also make notes about it. And the power of this, if you have multiple community members seeing this, now you're getting evidence. You're able to also have data. Now you're able to see where concentrations of these hazards are. So when you put it on a map, you're able to see like, okay, on this particular street, this is a key place where they're dumping illegal tires. So maybe there's something, a policy or something, or extra watch that we can put on this street to make sure they're not doing this. Or, hey, this stormwater infrastructure is broken and it's all along the street right outside of the, Mercedes-Benz Stadium and everything. This was slightly before they did that, but you're able to, highlight this to the political leaders, like, hey, this needs to be fixed. We're able to show you evidence. We're able to show you where it's at, because it also gives you GPS coordinates for every picture taken. So it's a powerful tool to leverage a lot of the concerns.
And so part of what you do is project management. So it isn't just about water or even what you did over, it can be any topic. So like, let's say even in my specific area, it's driving me crazy. We have, if the wind blows wrong, we'll lose electricity in the house. And so is that an area that could come under or fall under that? Because at one point we heard, okay, well, they're going to move everything underground. But that hasn't happened yet. But that's an issue for our community, because it isn't just my home losing electricity, it's the whole area. So would that fall in line with one of the projects that you might be? Hint, hint. I'm trying to give.
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely understand. So it reminds me of the house that I grew up. Same issue. Most of the power lines were above ground, and they weren't underneath. So when the wind blew or rained, just a little bit, it was out. And so I get for GIS, the utility company definitely is using GIS to basically map things out, to know where the lines would be. I believe that it is more of a resource issue for the utility to be able to, push to get that put underground. It's also a financial piece. I don't work for the power grid, but I did used to work for Southern Company as well and I did map out the new business lines. I do know that as far as like with utilities, there is sometimes, it can be a challenge to redo the existing infrastructure and update it. And the money does have to come from somewhere. But I do also know that sometimes it does take more community input to help push things along faster. So GIS, and I guess from a more innovative and kind of community agency type perspective, you could have, even if it's just a map highlighting or showing the frequency that you're having outages, highlighting maybe like a story map where community members are able to share some of the struggles that they're having, and pinpoint how this is impacting the community and why you need these grid lines updated as some type of supportive evidence, so you can kind of push for that infrastructure to be go ahead and be updated.
So I'm learning as you're speaking. So it's like, when you talk about combining the community, these are areas that we can be activists in. It doesn't always mean being active in the street, marching and shouting. You can be an advocate for your community even in this way.
Absolutely.
And so, but we don't know what we don't know. I didn't know that this was even an option. So who knows? I might they might see me in the meetings.
Yes,
when I'm tired of my electricity
yes.
going out. So with this and all of this knowledge that you have, you are a 3-time award winner. And I just want to, you know, we gotta shine some light on you and your accolades. Can you share with us those 3 awards that you have received?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So I received in 2023 the 40 Under 40 award from Business Elite Awards. I also received the 40 Under 40 awards from Georgia State University alumni, as well as I received the 35 Under 35 award for the Gwinnett Chamber of Business Young Professionals Network. I do have some other pending awards
coming up
as well. Yes. I did. So just yesterday, I did receive a second honorary doctorate. My first honorary doctorate was actually this past December in 2023 from the School of Great Commission in Christian Leadership. I just received yesterday a Doctor of Philosophy and Information Technology from Harvard Christian University, as well as received Distinguished Alumni Award and also the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award from President Joe Biden. And I am currently a nominee for what's called the 𝐒𝐸 Awards, the Influence 𝐒𝐸 Award.
That's a cat.
It's with the Gwinnett Chamber of Commerce. And my award, or the Influence Award, is basically highlighting a woman who is dominating the world that's particularly male dominated. Male dominated.
And that's going to be that's exactly where I was going next. How has it been? What has been your experience being probably the only woman in the room, but also I'm pretty confident probably woman of color in that particular department. How has that experience been for you?
So you're absolutely right. This is a field that's particularly male dominated. Yes, I'm usually the only woman of color in this field. I would say I love a risk and a challenge in a lot of cases. So it's almost like I kind of look for those opportunities to, you know, kind of break barriers. I have family that have encouraged me to set those different, you know, break those different glass ceilings. Even in my own family, I would consider myself a generational curse breaker. You know, I'm the first.
Come on now.
Yes. I'm the first in my family to get any degree, let alone, you know, continue.
Okay, now pause right there. Because you started this at 12. We'll go to 12.
Yeah.
And you being the first generation, what was instilled in you at that time to make you, because you're going hard, and you've been going hard for a long time. What was it in the parenting? Because I want to know, we all need to know, what was it that your parents put in you to make you desire to want more and to be the first and not be afraid to be a trailblazer? Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, my parents are great parents. They've been married over 32 years. My dad was a Vietnam veteran captain in the Marine Corps.
He was disciplined. You ain't got to say no more, but go ahead.
Yes. And my mom, her background was in accounting. And she ended up, once the children started coming, she was, stay-at-home mom. But in my particular family, and I believe in a lot of the, families, particularly Black families, women typically had a duty where even if they had, once the kids came, they kind of put all their focus on the kids.
Your children.
And so, I had my grandma and my mom, particularly my grandma, they always, she was always rooting for me, gotta keep going.
Cheerleader.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have a very good support system. So they would always say, just keep going. And one thing my grandma told me when I was younger, which I feel like not a lot of people tell young kids, is start writing down what you're doing. That was a huge thing that allowed me to achieve some of the awards that I have now.
Yeah.
Write it down, because I have a track record now stemming back from 12 of me going out and traveling to these communities and showing that level of service, showing these, things that you probably would forget. Like I remember that, for example, like I in middle school, I was already I used to write poetry, and I actually won an award for poetry, and it was published. It's something that I kind of forgot about and everything, because I was like 13 or so when I was doing that. But they were always very supportive, and they are always flexible with what I want to do. They they couldn't really tell me where to go because they had never been to, you know, in this particular area. So I was very thankful to have some mentors, some great mentors that helped to pivot me and show me new ways of thinking at different age points. 12, it was my pastor at so my First United Methodist Church, Kevin Days. He came in, helped pivot me in that level of servant leadership. Then it was like a mentor. Once I got 14, Westland Watershed Alliance, Dr. Nataki Osborne Jokes, which has been invited to the White House and is well known and respected across the U.S. as a community advocate and agency leader. And then I had, you know, Miss Nicole Wilson. She was in project management. She got me into project management, where at 21, you know, I was able to, one of the youngest to become certified as a project management professional in the U.S. And so these key figures, they helped tremendously for points where my parents couldn't, and they just kept pushing me. And I think I'm a free thinker, and I am someone who is constantly in the search for different knowledge and innovative things. So that also helps as well. I'm someone who I listen. I'm never too, you know, high up or anything to listen to people, because people, you can't become a leader if you're not at that level. So if someone tell me I should probably do something, I'm acting on that. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, we're gonna go ahead and knock it out. I typically don't waste time on a lot of things.
We kind of got that in common. What y'all think? You put your mind to something, you get there. I love it. I love it. In order for you to get, what schooling did you have to, what did you major in? What all schooling did you, for a little girl who may be watching you, what was your path in order to get where you are right now?
Yeah, so I will kind of do a little backtrack to actually, you know, to middle school. So when I was in 8th grade, another key person, my counselor told me about a new school that was opening called DeKalb College Academy. I was one of the first classes to start that. DeKalb College Academy originally was funded by Bill and Melinda Gates, and it was going to be a pilot school where you would do 2 years of high school and then 2 years of college. Good to finish with your associates in high school diploma at the same time. And so, you know, my parents asked, do I want to do it? I brought them the paper and I was like, I just need y'all to sign. I already filled everything out and everything. And so I went to that school, you know, did my 2 years. I finished high school in 2 years. Then I went full time to Georgia Perimeter College and got my associates in general studies. From there, I stayed because originally I was going to go into engineering. So I stayed and got my associates in mathematics as well. So I did all the different levels of math and physics and chemistry. And then I transferred actually and went to Georgia State University and actually got my bachelor's in geography and specialized in geographic information systems. I stayed there and got my master's in geoscience. And then I had started at actually University of Georgia for my PhD in environmental design and planning. So still working on finish up that particular doctorate.
Oh, you'll get it done. You'll get it done. I'm confident.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's been a joy having you on here. We just met. I didn't even share this. We just met at an event, a networking event. What, 2 weeks ago? Maybe a month ago. About a month ago. And she was just standing there, and I was just like, "You're beautiful," and we just started talking.
We had a great it flowed so easily. So easily.
It was so easy, and I'm so glad I was able to bring you on and find out more of what you do. I just absolutely love the fact that you are busting down walls and you're willing to crash those glass ceilings. And whatever support, any kind of way we can support you, let us know. We are here to support you in any kind of way. But before I let you go, I need you to talk to all the beautiful little princesses out there who are trying to search out and figure out what they're wanting to do with their lives, and let them know it's okay to be a smart girl. It's okay. I raised a nerd, so I know it's okay to be a nerd. It's okay to be smart. So just inspire them and encourage them that being smart is the way to go.
Absolutely.
And you can talk to them here.
Yes. So to the little princesses out there, never give up on your dreams, and always believe that if you have an idea in mind, you can absolutely achieve it. There's nothing that is stopping you.
Mhm.
There's nothing that can get in your way. I would recommend that you find someone or mentor that you can talk to, someone that can help guide you, because all of us need somebody who we can go to that can give us wise counsel. So look at the people in your community, and if it's not someone in your community, find someone even on social media that may be in another community that you can talk to, that you can message. Feel free to message me as well. And, we can talk about some of your goals. We can start thinking about a plan. Think about the ways that, you don't let your passions. Sometimes they say that you can't follow your passions, but you can indeed follow your passions. You can indeed follow what you are good at. And it is okay to be smart, educated, beautiful. It's okay. Those all can be all in one. You do not have to choose either or. You can do it all, and you can do it all beautifully.
Yes, that was wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in and hanging out with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
All right, guys, we will be right back.
Every day a woman rises.
You're watching Trish Stanley TV. I would like to thank my guest, Dr. Alyssa 𝐸𝐲, for coming in and hanging out with us on today. I don't know about you, but I learned an awful lot. One thing I do know is that there are various ways that we can be participants in our community, whether it isn't always have to be on the picket line or storming or marching the streets. There are other avenues and other ways that we can enhance our communities, and GIS is one of those ways. If you learned as much as I have, please, by all means, and even if you hadn't, make sure you reach out to her and learn more about what she does with the GIS technology. Thank you guys for hanging out. Let's continue to learn together. Remember that love isn't love unless you give it away.